He does it all, including, you know what? There's positive vibes right there.
Look at this guy.
Oh,
In a hat.
Positive vibes. Jamie McLennan. Cove soda. Is that a cream soda, Cove soda?
No, it's a raspberry. I just discovered it.
What?
And what's the early, what are the early?
It's good. I ordered, you can order from Costco or whatever. So I ordered a bunch and it was like a kit, like it's Cove mixed or whatever. So there was like some unique flavors in there. There was a raspberry. So I'm going to try it out. Tastes pretty good.
Nice.
And Pinder, you're right. I'm going to tell people this all the time. I call Ottawa Senator games. I love the organization, love a lot of the players. They're really good guys. I've gotten to know them over the years. But being in broadcasting and calling a game, as long as I don't swear on air, I sleep well at night. Whether they lose or win or whatever, I go back to my room. I watch other games, and that's it. So I'm happy for the Ottawa Senators organization, obviously, because it's, I do 50 other games. And like I said, Dave Poulin's a dear friend. Steve Staios I played with. I love Brady Tkachuk and Tim Stützle. I think they're really good guys and good players. But I have friends throughout the league. You guys know I have a soft spot for the Flames, obviously, with you guys and Peter Hanlon being my best friend. And
well, we found out last year you love the Oilers.
That's exciting.
I don't love the Oilers. I found out last year that a lot of my friends actually love the Oilers, but I actually liked their team last year. I thought their team was a pretty good team. I still think they actually, if they get healthy, you never know. But that LA team is pretty solid. Like that's it. And I look at some out west teams. But I heard you talking about Anaheim. I heard you talking about San Jose, and Anaheim's. You can't sleep on them. That's for tonight. Like that's the thing. They're not playing for lots. They're loose. You're right. Lucas Dostal, if you look at his goals saved above expectation, I believe he's top 5. Is he not, Pinder?
He and Wolf would be in that same category, like top 10 guys, depending on how the last few games have gone.
And, they got young talent. Like Anaheim's going to be a force probably within 2-3 years. That Cutter, what the hell's his name? Cutter.
Mason McTavish has been over a point a game here for the last 20 some odd games. He's just
Carlson's still a teenager. Like they're young and they're positions you want.
And the thing is too is apparently, so I've talked to the guys, the broadcasting team and stuff. Apparently their owner's unbelievable. Like he just is hands off and allows the manager to be the manager. And apparently he's got deep pockets. So it's not going to, like, if he wants to spend to the cap and add to this group, it could be interesting. I would look at Anaheim as a team that might add this summer to try and round out their group. I still think San Jose might be the best out of all of them when it's all said and done. That Celebrini's special. And, they Smith, and they've got some good players. And if the goalie, the Russian Carey Price, gets his act together, the Askarov, he's good. But
they're going to pick a top 3 again. Like that's the thing with the Sharks. Like,
so
not like, we dipped down for 1 year and got a star. Like, no, you're going to have like a large group of young studs.
That'd be another one too. And off the top of my head, I don't know the number, but we were like with Buffalo, they are going to miss the playoffs, and that's now 14 straight years. And we just talked about teams, but 7 years or 8 years.
Mm-hmm.
Even in San Jose, you knew it was coming because Doug Wilson went all in, and we're bringing in Carlson, and we've got the old boys, and we're going to try and push this through. And then
almost beat St. Louis. Erik Karlsson's limping around, and then the Blues end up winning the cup. I don't think they've been back since.
Yeah, it's been a long haul.
But you look at it, there has been a long haul. I've always felt that San Jose were the Toronto Maple Leafs of the West.
Yeah.
They were, really good. Everyone loved them, cup contenders and stuff. They never got it done for years. And then there was a dissension. You took the captain away, all of that type of stuff. But they were always a good team. And I always bet on them. And I was like, God, they're good in regular season. And then they just couldn't get through. But I look at some of these teams now, and you're like, okay, you can make a pathway or a case. I could actually make a case and a pathway for the Flames to make the playoffs.
I was going to just say, you're a smart guy, eh? You were just saying, this was just, I'm kind of paraphrasing. Before the show, I'm really happy that Jamie is coming on today.
You didn't even know I was coming on the show.
I'm very happy that Jamie will be joining us in the program today.
Sounds like what Rhett says too.
The rundown. He doesn't know what day it's.
The The one thing that I really respect about James, I think maybe he called it. The one thing I really respect about James is just his in-depth knowledge and ability to converse with the listener and the audience. We've been kind of doing a win-loss. We've been trying to, because there's math,
yes,
and there's probabilities, and there's home, and this whole thing.
Let me hear Pinder's first, because he's usually measured with the numbers.
No, I just
don't need more.
The Flames have 5 games left.
I said all along 95, and you're in.
Okay, is that a fair assessment?
Traditionally, that's a good number. We'll see.
The AI, you told us AI said 93. That's fine. Who am I to argue with AI? But I'm going to be right at
95 is tough. It might be 96.
Don't show the wild card yet. Can we do the schedule? Let's do this, because we're going to play.
This is our game.
This is our game. Win, loss, or maybe a point.
Yeah.
Win, loss, or maybe a point with Jamie McLennan.
Okay.
Win against San Jose. Now, we all called that.
Yes.
Worst team in the league. You better do that. Yeah.
Tonight, now you can win, loss, or maybe a point. Anaheim.
I got to say win. It's a must win. I'm sorry. It's a must win for the Calgary Flames tonight. You have to win, because then you can smell it against Minnesota Friday. Like, that's the biggest thing. Friday's the biggest game of the season if you win tonight, and you have to win tonight. It's a winnable game. Anaheim will be kind of sitting fat and happy that they beat Edmonton the other day, even though the goalie made 48 saves or whatever it was. But they got timely goals, and that Gauthier is a player, McTavish is a player. They've got some players there, but Calgary should be the desperate team. The problem is, and this goes back to Rhett, you and our days, is the team stinks in Anaheim. Do they not?
They won 9 and 10 there, so
not anymore.
That ship has sailed.
Yeah.
Okay, so good.
And we're calling them, by the way, the Bugatti biggest game of the year. This is like Bugatti 10.
This is about the 10th.
Okay.
All right, let's start.
Okay, so you win.
Win.
I say win. You guys are saying get a point.
And then Friday
is Hawaiian Shirt Day.
It's also the Minnesota Wild.
The team you're trying to catch.
Yes.
The team in your crosshairs.
Oh.
But
win, loss, or maybe a point.
I'm saying win. I say the next 2 games are wins.
That's massive.
Huge.
Oh, my God.
The next 2 games are wins. Actually, I'm sorry, the next 3.
Oh, let's go. Let's go.
All right.
The next 3 are wins and have to be wins.
San Jose 2 on Sunday, the 13th.
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
3 in a row. That means they've won 4 in a row, Dean.
Running the table.
No, because then. Okay, so
but including the San Jose game, it's 4.
It would be 4 in a row, but here's the thing. Vegas, LA. Now, here's something creepy. Here's my thoughts, okay? I think they get one of those games, Vegas or LA, because LA or Vegas will be resting players. Keep in mind, you're not going to get those teams' best potentially, okay? But the sad part is I'm calling it, but they might beat Vegas, but they might lose to San Jose at home. Like one of these things is going to be like, that's a slam dunk win, and it's not. Because if they win in Anaheim tonight and they have a huge game against Minnesota on Friday, they might take their foot off the gas and go, it's just San Jose. We got these 2 points. We're looking ahead to Vegas. And that's where they come up short on a Sunday. That's what scares me for this group. That's, if you're asking me to be honest and look at that, there's going to be a disappointing loss in there somewhere.
All right. So you're saying with 5 games left, they're going 4-1
or 3-1 and 1?
3-1 and 1. I think there's a point somewhere to be had.
Okay.
But it just, I say Anaheim win. I say Minnesota win. San Jose should be a win, but that might be hey, we pissed one away at the end and got a point, and then, Vegas and LA, I think you win one of those games.
All right. So let's do the math. So 3 wins, 3 times 2 is
6.
Okay.
So what is it? 6. And then
+1.
An
6
overtime.
+1 is
7.
That
7.
makes it 7.
Okay.
And that's where we
So
at.
let's go to the standings. Let's
go
see.
to the standings.
So 7 points added to the Flames' current total will bring
94.
them. Shit.
Son of a God. Damn.
AI said 30. AI said 93.
Maybe AI's right.
Yeah, I said 95. Yeah.
That means, but that
We've
that
been playing
means
this game.
Minnesota only has to win
Yeah,
one game. If they only can.
Noodles. The thing
Yeah.
is that Minnesota has the tiebreak. So any number that Minnesota you think will comfortably get to, you got to be one better.
Jack,
They've
Well,
got
let's just be
Anaheim,
honest.
San
Let's be
Jose, and a
honest.
dead Canucks team, and the Flames.
Let's
just
be honest.
grasp or something.
Minnesota,
that
if
illustrated.
they go 500,
Yeah.
that puts them at 95.
And they have the tiebreak, which means the Flames have to get to 96.
The Flames will probably have to get to 96.
95. It's an asshole number. Hey,
It really is, yeah.
Jamie, we've been trying for 2 weeks straight here
Figure out.
to try and we've been squinting a little bit. It's like, okay, so 9 in a row, they can do it. Sure, yeah.
Well, if you make
93.
it, if
Damn
you
it.
if you make that, if you take the OT law, if you go 4-1,
4-1.
you can get to 95. The problem being Minnesota needs 2 wins to get to 95, and
And they got
Anyway.
the Sharks and the Ducks and the Canucks.
the Canucks will be tough though because Calgary plays Mini on Friday night, and that will be a highly emotional must-win kind of thing for
It's their
both
third and
teams.
4 days. It's a back-to-back.
And it's a
total.
back-to-back.
Yeah.
I think the Vancouver game is a tougher game for Minnesota than the Friday game.
Well, Vancouver
Yes.
might have a bit of juice for what they did last night, too, right? You know,
Nah.
That was crazy. We haven't talked about it yet, but
like that's because I called a game in Columbus last night and I had a 6 a.m. flight, so I wanted to get a bit of sleep.
Take care of yourself.
And
what are you doing?
and I went to bed going, okay, Dallas is rinsing them, like I can shut this one off. And I wake up and I'm like, I'm seeing this right. Like, you know, you wake up 4 hours later, you're like, is that right? You know, I always like check the score. Like, that's not right. And then I see something, I can't remember, on Twitter or something like that comeback's like an NHL record. And you're like, that's crazy.
Yeah.
And did you see Studer on the game tying goal? He had no emotion in the scrum. Go back to the scrum.
Yeah, we'll show it. Yeah.
Is he
We'll show it.
showing- Did this just happen? Like, what the hell's going on here? Like, he was actually in shock that this all went down. I actually thought it was hilarious.
All right, Jamie, stay focused. We don't care about the
Jesus.
Canucks. We're talking about
Why
the
are you
Flames.
watching out of
This is
conference?
not your
so there's the-
Toronto show where you
there's the
talk
standings.
about whatever you
We're
want. You
everything.
listen to us and we'll tell you what.
Sports.
This is not Sakaris and Price.
All right.
So
Yeah.
now, again, just to make it, I know for me, when I can, if it's a visual aid, it helps
Yes.
when it comes to, permutations and stuff.
Yeah.
Here's, this one is,
But-
we used AI, our best people. We put to
Yeah.
work here.
Okay.
So there's wild winds.
Figure this one out with your
Jamie, you can walk us through
high
this,
school.
this
Yeah,
here.
let us know what they need here, Jimmy.
Flames win. So wild wins.
So the 4 left.
Don't
Let's say they
explain
win.
it. Let Jamie knows. Jamie's going to take us through it. So
Someone
clearly,
in 4-11 Minnesota, Calgary, Minnesota. So that's April 11th,
Mhm.
right? So why? Okay, hold on a second here. There we
This is
go.
old.
These are 5 games. So you're looking at the games and you're going, okay, so you cross that out, 4-11. Somebody has to win. That's a coin flip. So that's the black ones, right?
That's right.
yeah.
Excellent. Well done.
So then the Flames, the red is the black is going to win that. And that, so the 1 and 2 are the losses that, or potential points that they leave on the table for the Flames, correct?
The numbers are the wins that they would have.
Yeah, there's
from
wins.
0 to 5 wins. You can win 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5. And the Wild have 4 games left. They could have 0 to 4 wins.
It's not.
Okay.
true.
We've been having some fun with this.
So
graph over
the
course
red,
of
so
the
basically the Flames need
3
5
wins.
wins, 5 games, 5 wins. No.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the Minnesota, that's where they jump ahead of the 2. So if you go the 2 for Minnesota
Mhm.
Yes.
and you slide across, Calgary is ahead of them in the 5 spot because they've won out.
Nailed it.
Okay.
You want to use this on your show today?
Yeah,
we'll
we-
send
You
it
want
to
this?
Small fee
No,
will
because
borrow
this is like my 7-year-old would be able to
Watch
hold
the
this
O-Dog's
better than
head
I.
pop off his
The O-Dog
shoulders.
would love this.
So I do see, yes, that's the red, the pathway in the red. That is
Yes.
the Flames pathway if Minnesota
Uh,
craps the bed, basically. And
And-
2 wins doesn't get it done. 3 if Minnie only wins 1, 4 if Mini wins 2, and if Mini wins 3 or 4, they're done, basically.
Yeah, the part that hurts is that Minnesota winning 2 of their last 4 seems like okay.
My head hurts from this
Well,
chart.
You would have
ask you
to
this.
you would have to run the table if
Are we
Minnesota
just-
wins just 2 games.
Are we all focused on Minnesota? Is St. Louis losing out not a problem or what? They only have 3 games left.
No, you know what, Jamie? Last week
shifted.
we shifted our focus.
Shift.
Yeah.
The Wild didn't know. They had no idea. Whoever their coach is, we can't remember. Whoever their coach is, he had no idea.
Yeah.
But we shifted our focus. The hunted
St.
became the
Louis
hunter,
is
whatever
still
it
in
is.
the mix. That's the thing. Like,
because
Well,
Listen-
here's the thing with St. Louis. They have the same number of points as the Oilers. So if St. Louis is still in the mix,
Guys,
games in hand.
there's
stay
a big
focused.
game tonight.
Okay.
Stay focused.
What?
I think
Don't
Edmonton
talk
has 5 games left, don't they? St.
Yeah,
Louis
well,
has
how
2.
they do? Which teams played better for the last 2.5 months? It's not close.
Jack, can you pull up the that Oilers Flames chart that we have and the
Yeah.
Blues?
Don't
Actually,
they play
never mind.
each other?
Never mind.
Who?
Tonight. Anyway,
The Oilers?
it's
Wouldn't that be grand if Calgary caught Edmonton?
well, that's
Oof.
There's not enough Kleenex and Lubrider on planet Earth for that scenario.
the Oilers are in a position to clinch a playoff spot tonight, so they are.
Yeah, but
In a
in
better
essence, Flames fans, like I witnessed this last night, Ottawa fans were cheering for the Montreal Canadiens to win last night.
Mm.
Are Flames fans cheering for Edmonton to win tonight because that chunks off one game against St. Louis, or sorry, one St. Louis.
I'd rather have the Edmonton loss. They don't look right at all. They started Olivier Rodrigue in net. Like, what are we talking about here? That's the team.
Well,
that's gonna
Pickard
chase
needs
the
a
Blues out.
rest. I
Wow.
mean, you can't run Pickard in case you have to play him. But I think Skinner's good. I just before I was on with you guys, I was just talking to Ryan Rashog and asked him like status update of some of the guys up there. I think they've shut everybody down for the getting to the playoffs, last couple games, and then ramp it up.
Mhm.
Like the regular season. I don't think Edmonton cares. They know they're playing LA potentially, or for most likely, unless they completely lose all 5 and Calgary goes on a run. But I think they got to get healthy before they can do anything to try and compete against LA. LA is a good team.
I know when you come on, we probably talk probably an unfair amount of Ottawa Senators for people that live in.
No, we
live and
like the
listen to Calgary.
Senators now.
But for the first time since 16-17, they're going to the
Jeez.
playoffs.
Yeah.
And we may get a juicy first round matchup depending what happens in the next week. A weird one. You lose 5-2, but what was the post game? Like, you're not popping bottles and celebrating, but there had to have been some kind of. I'm just trying to think game wise timing. Were they all aware that they had qualified by the time the game was over?
Well, literally, as Ottawa's game was ending,
Yeah.
there was still a minute left in the Montreal game, but they scored an empty netter. So I would imagine as they're walking down the tunnel after, Columbus beat the hell out of them, they would be walking in and somebody would have given them, hey, Detroit lost, we're in. So Steve Staios, I watched an interview with him this morning, and he was saying that it was bittersweet because he said that he felt that his team played their worst game in a long time last night, which is true. But he said, I talked to him before the game in the media lounge, and he just said, like, it's still nerve-wracking because until you see that X beside your name, you don't know, right? So I think for a lot of these guys, it's been I did on my SportsCenter hit afterwards. I just said it's a body of work. So you can be happy even on a night where you had a loss, because if you look at the season, Linus Ullmark was out for 2 months. They had a kid named Levi Merrillainen playing net for them. They could have been in a lot different spot. They've had injuries that have inconsistencies, but they found a way. And, I'm happy for their fan base. And that's why you guys know I'm watching every Flames minute going, I can see a pathway, but there's some they need help and there's some obstacles in front of them. So, that's the biggest challenge. I was checking to see if that kid was going to play tonight. I'm drawing a blank on his name because I was traveling. Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah, but I don't think he's going to play. I don't believe.
I
but-
don't. Do you
Can we
think
jump
they
in
should
on that?
play him?
Yeah, like just for context, this has been a huge debate in Calgary amongst hardcore fans that some people are outraged the Flames aren't going to immediately put him in the lineup, and other people are like, whoa. Like, you got maybe 15, 20 years of this kid. He can wait a week till they're eliminated. Like, he's a defenseman. He's coming from junior, not from college or the pro ranks. Where do you shake out on this?
You'll know in 2 games, kind of thing. Like tonight, I'm fine. Give him some pro experience. And you're right. This isn't like, hey, we are decimated with injuries or whatever.
Yeah, well,
You've got to force feed him in. And it sounds like he's going to be a hell of a player, but why place him in that situation where you're in such a massive crunch?
well, what does it say to the other guys?
Exactly.
Yeah,
The guys with blood and sweat and tears, the guys who have block shots and been doing everything. To me, it's the right thing. I understand from the outside.
Yeah.
Like, us with our Joe fans hat on, I get it. But from the inside, I don't even think there would be a debate like from Huska and them.
Huska.
Connie goes, hey, we got this young guy coming in. Great. Let's give him the pro experience. But we're trying to make the playoffs here with this group. And to me, so I understand it. And just like you guys laid out, if they have a dud tonight or, and they lose to Minnesota on Friday or something like that, then it looks different. Have at it. Give them the last couple games and free looks. But I don't think it's the right play to put him in right now. It's different, I think. Well, Montreal's going to get that Damodoff kid or whatever. And, it sounds like I think he's more NHL ready.
Playing against men all year, like 65 games in the K is not the OHL.
Right. You're playing against men and, there's guys with no sleeves on handing out pills after the game in the KHL. There's Dr. No Sleeves. There's Oleg was my GM. He never wore a shirt. He just had like a muscle shirt on and walked around with about $1 million in a bag and handed it out. I mean, that guy's seen some stuff. In junior, you're just worrying about, your nutrition and, high school and stuff like that,
And so when you say pro experience, just for clarity, you're talking about being around the team, watching these guys operate. I mean, there's no practices right now either. At this stage of the season, they're playing every other day. They're getting guys rest. Guys are playing through injuries. I feel like you're throwing a kid in the deep end. If he hasn't practiced and you're asking him to come in and play minutes.
To me, it's a 0 chance that he should play. Like, for example, tonight. Like, I just don't. I think you get him acclimated to like, hey, you're staying in a hotel with the guys, your pre-games, your morning skate, you're doing all of these things of like, hey, we're giving you like this is house money. This kid's getting house money experience on a really intense environment too. Keep in mind, like sorry, what's going on here?
It's Parekh's agent. He's pissed.
No, it's but anyways, it's the point being, it's to me, you're getting like experience on the job. And I think it's invaluable for him. So I don't think there should be, and I understand from a fan's perspective, you want to see the shiny new toy. You can see him in a week or maybe not. If they make the playoffs, he's around and he's an injury away, like that type of stuff. So I think there's lots of bandwidth for him to play, put it that way.
I've got lots of questions, but they could probably wait till next week when we have a clearer picture of what's going on.
They'll give us clarity.
You brought up swearing on the air as your only. If you don't swear, you've done a good job. You can sleep at night. Like Rob Ray just cusses left and right on the air. I thought you were as big a deal as Rob Ray. Why can't you get away with it?
He's bigger than me. He's way bigger. Like, you remember that guy
I had someone text me the other day and say Razor's massive, but they were actually talking about his girth and his weight.
His head. I did the game in Ottawa the other day, and he stood beside me in between the benches. I don't know if you guys saw it. There was a clown, some guy who lost a fantasy football bet.
Oh, yeah.
He had to dress up like a clown. So there was a clown behind me and Rob Ray beside me. Rob Ray is twice the size of me, twice. And his head, like, I don't have a tiny head. I'm not Beetlejuice. I'm not Christian Huselius. I like Rob Ray's head is twice the size of mine, and his body, he's just this massive man. And does he? I don't think he swears on air. Does he? Well, he did swear on air, but he got hit with a puck, didn't he?
That was going to be part of my question. Do you have the self-control or lack of to not swear in that situation?
there's a video of me, was it last year or 2 years ago? I got a slash in the face here in between the bench. It chipped my cheekbone. And the cameraman like turned and they were trying to put me on camera. And I went on the talk back and I said, I think I'm hurt here. Like, don't, they were like, hey, let's go to Jamie. He just got chopped in the face. And
this will be great.
And Butch Goring. So on the broadcast for the Islanders, the play-by-play guy goes, I think Jamie McLennan got hit in between the benches. And he goes, I've coached him twice. He's never been hit by anything.
He just slid right under the arm, dude.
Yeah.
It was awesome. But I had a black eye. And then another one, I got a concussion. Mark Borowiecki chopped me over the head. And I've had 2 concussions or 2 head injuries as a broadcaster in between the benches. I had 2 concussions as a pro goaltender in 17 years. I told TSN, I said, if I get anything again, I'm upstairs the duration. I've had enough. And I loved the Buffalo broadcast. The next broadcast, they put Razor in the 300 level. It was awesome. It was awesome. But yeah, I would try not to swear. I know there's been times like Brad Marchand. I did the Florida game the other day, and Marchand was going at it with Stützle and a couple of those guys. And there was some language there, and I was on the mute button. And
who was he calling fat?
Yeah, I don't know.
Come on.
I think he was calling Zetterlund fat. I don't know. Like
Fabian.
That Zetterlund is
effing fat.
He's thick. But yeah, he was giving it to a few of them. But he was pretty funny. I just sit there in between the benches. I have no skin in the game, so you're just kind of, all right, let's watch this unfold, but it's kind of funny.
Did you want to?
Oh, well,
because
yeah, Rob Ray when he. I mean, if you take a puck to the jibs, that might be the first thing you say.
But there's no, like, for me, like, there's no way he should get in trouble for that ever.
No. He didn't, and everyone knows him. And
no, but everybody knows him. The broadcast could. Like they could, if he decided he's like, hey, you guys have put me in a tough spot here. Like to me, I think he might have had to sign a waiver or whatever to be in there. But the point being is, it's raw emotion. You can mute that out. And if somebody, who's woke or upset about swearing on air, like I think that the team would take a bullet for him and say, let's look at the context here of that. But I thought what is that website, Awful Announcing or whatever? They ran it and a bunch of ran it. I thought it was awesome. Like, I think we ran it on TSN and just obviously bleeped it out, but it was great.
I think 99.9% of society loved that and was like, I hope Rob's okay, but like, that's awesome F-bomb. I really can't imagine someone being upset. Like you must be mad at the Sun for coming up.
Well, and I like that. They had Tage Thompson or whoever was mic'd on the bench. Like, is the puck okay?
Yeah. So true, though, because nothing can hurt that guy. Like, he was like more annoyed. If you look at his face, he's annoyed. Like he had
blowing up as the game goes on, like he's almost in the back bumping it.
And just because, I mean, we probably talk too much Senators maybe and too much Sabres, but just because it happened last night, Rhett, you'll be happy to know that the Sabres have won 7 straight at home for the first time since November of 1999.
They're on a heater. They're killing themselves.
They're
literally killing themselves.
8-1 in their last 9.
They climbed over Boston the other day. Now Boston's going to get a better pick. Like they're killing themselves. And now what's going to happen is it's fool's gold in Buffalo. People are going to go, man, let's stick with the same team because and they got James Reimer standing on his head at 37 years old. Like, and I love the guy, but like at some point you're going to have to go, and I'm sure Kevin's got a plan. Maybe he doesn't. I don't know, but I think Kevin Adams has a plan there to go, okay, our team is getting there. Like we've said this before. We've talked too much about Buffalo. I like a lot of their players, a lot of them. Like they're good. They got a bunch of good players there. I don't know what's going on. And now they're 8-1 or whatever they are.
They're so good.
Yeah, Reimer's won his last 7 starts. The best run of his life.
He was unbelievable last week. he stood on his head. Like Ottawa destroyed them, and like it was 5-2. Reimer's making saves. He's like, it was just unbelievable.
Like a young
that game?
noodler.
Yeah, like a young noodler.
No, I don't know about that. He has flex.
You were talking about, and we'll get Jamie out of here because he was up early. But the fun and games, things are going to get real serious. I think of teams like Toronto, Florida snapped a 5-game skid last night. Hey, it's been a good season. What a great time. Hey, another win. All that shit is going to be old news in about whatever.
Yeah,
10,
all the feel good
days,
right now.
right?
We'll quit. Yeah, 2 weeks from now, quickly
10
change.
days.
Hey,
Plus
you've
start
had
on
a
the
great
19th.
year. Game 1 starts.
The Jets. You busy reading your headlines?
Exactly.
How's it going to go if you
Washington.
get game 1 against get wild and get pumped?
Should we any unique thoughts on Ovi, or has it been talked about enough?
No, you know what? My initial reaction watching him tie it against Chicago, 2 things. I was like, good on Spencer Knight, because Ovi had about 3 shots after that Leonard kid put in the empty netter, which was like, I was shocked. I'm like, why is that kid shooting the puck in the empty net? Dump it in and get Ovi on the ice for the empty netter. And then I find out that Ovi didn't want to go on the ice for the empty netter. So I'm like, good for the kid. I'm happy for you to start your career. But then I went to bed that night going, careful what you wish for. It's an afternoon game against the Islanders. If he goes on a dry streak for 6 games and he turned down an opportunity to get on the ice for an empty netter, or he gets a slap shot in the foot or something happens, I kept thinking to myself, he might have screwed himself. Well, what does he do? Halfway through the game, he goes and breaks it on a beautiful goal, actually, like legit beautiful goal. I thought the league did an unbelievable job. I think it's incredibly difficult to shut a game down halfway through and do a 20-minute, ceremony. I thought the Islanders, the most just about is Lou Lamoriello and Patrick Roy they're 2 of the crustiest people in the NHL.
Mm-hmm.
Like, can you imagine that happen against their organization and they're having to sit there and watch this while they're trying to make the playoffs? I thought Sorokin was very gracious. He's buddies with Ovi, obviously, and all of that, but that's tough because he's in the history books and be on that video forever. But
Gretzky was awesome.
I thought Wayne was amazing.
Amazing.
There was one comment. I don't know how you guys feel about it, but Wayne was interviewed, I think the next day. Can't remember by who, but he brought up a great point. They were talking about, well, if Gretzky played in today's game and if Ovi played back then. And, Wayne brought something up, and I think it was kind of just a subtle, like, hey, like, just so you know, Wayne said 2 things. He goes, like, nobody shadowed Ovi. Like, he goes, he constantly had shadows. And he goes, I didn't get to play any overtime games. Like, 3-on-3 over. Could you imagine those Oilers in 3-on-3 overtime games?
4-on-4, like they'd have a straight tie for
These Oilers are no fun.
Yeah,
3-on-3, let alone those Oilers.
And look, like you can go look at the adjusted numbers. You can find out how many average goals are per game and adjust it, and that puts Ovi way ahead. And then you can say, well, Wayne won a pro season in the WHA, and Gordie Howe spent a decade. Like, it's never going to be perfect apple to apples, but I'm glad he got the sunlight, and everyone knows Wayne's points is the real.
Well, as parents, it's the neat thing because so this guy's got more goals. Yeah. Wayne also has more assists than anyone has points.
So how many back is over? Like 12?
What? How does that work? You walk through. Oh my God! Yeah,
I thought it was awesome. I loved everything about it. I thought Wayne was gracious. Janet giving the gift to the wife, and it just. And the other thing too, I read this yesterday. Apparently, Ovi could have stayed in New York and done the whole tour on the Tonight Show and all of that. And he turned it all down and said, we're in a stretch here. We got to play hockey.
Well, they're off till Thursday. I was sure they were going to cancel the charter and party in New York. And he's like, no, business.
And what's also cool is it didn't drag out over these 3 away for 2 or 3 weeks kind of thing.
He went and got it.
6 games in a row, 5 games in a row. Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah, it just, I think the league would be happy too that you don't have Gretzky just following this guy around for 5 games.
How happy is Wayne, right?
Wayne's probably happy too.
Yeah,
1 or 2 more nights at the suites.
No.
PJ.
I think
I mean, especially in New York, you'll enjoy it. But I I just think I think they did a great job. And there's always, again, I always look at it 90-10. 90 for the most part, 90% of people are just happy and all that. The 10% will never be happy with anything, and they're very loud.
Gary's not happy. Gary's like, Wayne, would you like some pot stickers? Darn, it's sharing sweet time with the great one.
Gary's not as cool as he was a week ago.
Yeah.
His last name is Leonsis, not Leosis.
I liked when they were walking out, they start booing him, and he kind of gives the old, yeah, that's about right. Yeah. He just kind of shrugs it off. Okay, now the most important part, the candy bracket. We're down to the final, buddy. We are down to
where are we at?
Final two. It was the Coke bottles and Skittles on one side. It was Peaches v. Sour Patch Kids on the other.
Yes.
There's your final. The 5th and 6th seeds.
Wow. Didn't I call it? I called Skittles Sour Patch because I said fuzzy peaches are lazy. It's just one flavor. Sour Patch has a multitude of flavors, and I felt like the cola got jammed up on that as well. Skittles has multiple colors and flavors.
They did get jammed up. Almost feels unfair.
Let's go back to the telestrator. You can see the cola bottles get jammed up here with the Skittles.
Yeah.
Totally got jammed.
But the path, undeniable for the Skittles. They beat the Twizzlers, who I don't know where you sat, but you were kind of defending the Twizzlers in round one.
I like the Twizzlers, the multiple flavored Twizzlers, like orange cream, all of that. Not just your traditional. Yeah. But the Twizzlers were good. I listen. I'm in agreement. Am I allowed to call the winner?
Yeah, you can give us your opinion.
Absolutely.
Skittles are winning.
Wow.
Because not everybody likes Sour Patch.
That's
when
good.
You put Sour Patch in it and you get a bad one, you get that look on your face. Not everybody likes a Sour Patch.
No.
Everybody likes Skittles.
All right. My debate with you would be I don't like candy in general, period. But we've been taste testing.
Yes.
And I was anti-Sour Patch because of what you said. I'm like, well, even if it is red, green, yellow, purple, it's sour. That's all you're getting.
Yeah.
Not that sour, but
the candies
do is-
themselves are kind of
people do is suck off the candy on the outside, and then you're into the juju part. That's where
you got to cut the mic. Like you can't swear.
My goodness. So Sour Patch Kids, it will be in
Noodles
versus the Skittles.
Skittles.
I'm Skittles. Yeah. Skittles will win.
All right.
We're good pros. We've been testing here.
Yeah.
We're not just gonna, go flying out without doing some homework.
Make sure your kid votes.
I've got my voting. I just got him today. The electrician or election.
Not the
No,
real
for the candy bracket.
candy bracket.
Oh,
Electrician.
I thought you were talking about voting in.
it's our show.
We have a decent government. Yes.
That's real
Art
life.
Carney.
I was like, I thought you vote. I'm like, is the vote next week? No, it's a couple weeks from now. And I just got Elections Canada in the mail. So anyway.
God, we love you.
You're the best. What's up for the rest of the week? We know you're on planes every day.
I fly to Edmonton tomorrow. I've got a business meeting Friday morning and fly back Saturday and then fly to Ottawa Saturday night because I got a game 1:00 Sunday. Fly home Monday for overdrive and all that. Fly back to Ottawa Tuesday for a game. Fly back Toronto Wednesday for shows and then fly back to Ottawa Thursday.
How long is the drive?
It's a 4-hour drive or an hour flight.
Oh, yeah.
Just long enough for you.
It's long enough to be annoying.
Same with Edmonton here. It's like,
And just a little segue while we have you, the Sens owner, Michael Andlauer, will be on with Jeff Merrick on The Sheet today on our network. So.
Yeah, Michael's awesome. Really classy guy. Like, what he used this term and it stuck with me when he bought the team. He said, I want to change this organization or have it. And he uses the words best in class. So he's like, I'm going to get I want the best trainers. I want the best everything. And you know what? It's taken him a while, but he's really made an impact on the community. I think he's hired some great people. He's been an awesome owner and he's a fantastic person. He's around the team, but he's not like one of those owners that wants to be front and center. He's just I think he's a fan at heart, right? And I think he's fantastic. He's a great human. I got a lot of time for him.
You had a lot of time for us. We appreciate you, pal.
Thank you.
Have a good one, guys. We'll chat soon.
You bet. There he is, Jamie McLennan, one of our great insiders from TSN overdrive, sends broadcasts, does it all.
Hey guys, thanks for watching. Be sure to check out more of our content right here on the Flames Nation YouTube page. We had a bunch of great long form interviews. You can check out some videos we've done as well outside of the studio. And of course, if you want more writing or merchandise stuff, flamesnation.ca or nationgear.ca. Appreciate you watching.